skeleton fern, get it together. Here we go. Hey everyone, it is another week Halloween decor hunting with me and good old Mr. Skeleton. Hold on, sir. Railroad tracks. Hold on to your bones. So, if you're new here, first of all, welcome to the spooky family. We're excited to have ya. So today, we're going to be going to At Home. That's where we're headed right now, and that's it today. That's the only place we're going to. But then, in the rest of this video, this week, I'm wanting to go to Walmart to check out their Summerween stuff if they put it out. Last week, we checked and they didn't have anything. And then, of course, HomeGoods, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, they are starting to put stuff out. We saw last week, TJ Maxx started putting out Summerween in my area, so I'm going to be stocking all the stores this week. And then we might stop by a couple more places. We might drop into Kirkland's. We might drop into Michael's to see if they're starting to put out any of their minis or floral stuff or any of their other collections. I'm not anticipating their other collections yet, but I am anticipating their minis and their floral stuff and their, their planter kind of stuff, wreathy kind of stuff. All that. So yeah, we'll be looking at all the things, looking for all the spooky goods, but those are the main places on my list right now. And yeah, anyways, it is a beautiful day today. It is 83 degrees out. And that is usually too freaking hot for me, I'm not gonna lie. Normally, if it's not 50, then I don't want it. But it is about 20 degrees cooler today than it was last week. So I'll take it. It feels like a vacation on my brain. Like it is so, I don't know, we've had this conversation. I feel like we've talked about this before, and I feel like I'm the opposite of a lot of people, and I know there's other spooky family out there that feels the same way, where a lot of people start getting kind of down in the dumps, or they just don't feel themselves in the winter. I'm the opposite. It is like that for me in the summer when it's so hot. That's why I love looking for Halloween, because it just does something to my spooky soul that just, it's that little boost that I need in the hot summer. Because winter for me, I love bundling up. I love layers. I love hot coffee. I love burning a nice candle that smells like baked goods. I love winter. It's like fall is my favorite, then it's winter, then spring, then summer for me. But I love, because I feel like I can layer up. Where in the summer, I've said this a million times before, but I stand by it. You can't take off your skin unless you're Mr. Skeleton. But I can't sit here and take off more layers if I get really, really hot. You just have to sit in it. And it starts weighing on you, I feel like. Or at least that's how it feels like for me. Like I can't breathe. And I'm sure the humidity doesn't help with that. Anyways, I don't know if anyone else feels the same way. But it's just, summer is just so harsh. It's bright outside from the moment you wake up till the time you go to bed. You don't get a break. Your eyeballs, they do not get a break. They're searing in the sun. At this point, I'm wearing sunglasses inside because I'm just over it. So I just love when it's dark in the morning. It's dark before I go to bed, and I get a good amount of darkness before sleep to where I'm really ready for bed, you know? I feel like there's something about that. I don't know. Anyways, if you're like, well, you probably need to see somebody about that. Don't you worry. Don't fret, you guys. I'm taking care of my mental health. It is something that I make a priority. Anyways, that brings me to the sponsor for today's video, because this is something that I wish I would have had when I first started my mental health journey. And that's why I'm so excited to talk about BetterHelp, which is the sponsor for today's video, because they're on a mission to make starting therapy easier. For me, at least, I was really nervous. Well, first of all, I didn't even know where to start. Second of all, I was nervous about going somewhere and going in, and then if I didn't really mesh well with a therapist, then I'm starting over. It just felt a little overwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. That's why I wish I would have had BetterHelp, because I feel like BetterHelp kind of takes off some of that mental load that I had in the beginning of my mental health journey, where it was just like, where do I go? Where do I start? This seems like a lot of work. I might as well just not do it, kind of thing. I was kind of talking myself out of it and just saying, this is just too much right now. And with BetterHelp, all you have to do is fill out a questionnaire, and then they match you with a therapist in as little as a couple of days. And you can easily switch therapists at no extra cost if it's not the right fit. And with over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. So if you want to give BetterHelp a try, you can click the link down in my description or go to betterhelp.com/JadeTheLibra and get 10% off your first month of therapy. All right, here we go at home. Show us the spooky goods. All right, we just left at home, Mr. Skeleton. Hopefully my camera doesn't overheat because it's now, I am eating my own words. It is now 90 degrees. So we've jumped almost 10 degrees already in the last, I don't know, 30 minutes. So here we are. Anyways, we just left at home. And let's talk about all of the things we saw because they had so much more out that, I don't even know where to start. I don't know how I'm going to remember all this. Well, actually, first of all, I ran into Spooky Family at home. Letitia. It was so good to run into again. Anyways, okay, let's start there because Letitia and I were both looking for dark stuff. Or I was also looking for Spooky Town too, but I didn't see any. Anyways, let's start with the dark stuff because they had some really good dark stuff. They had a spooky ghoul lamp. It's like this bust, this zombie bust with this gorgeous Victorian looking lampshade. It is beautiful. The only thing about it, I wish it was more of like a classic bust and not a zombie bust. Anyway, okay. That's besides the point. Loved that lamp. Loved the lampshade. They also had another lamp that was like this skeleton bust guy with a top hat. They had the skeleton lamp, the big skeleton lamp, but I didn't see any of the boxes out. So I don't know if it's already sold out or they're just getting it out. And then they also had this big lamp post for outside. Looked like an outdoor lamp post and it had a coffin that said something on it. And then what else new did they have in this area? They had this crow light thing. They had a big black cat. They had a big skull planter that we saw last time. And what else was in this area next to the cat? I feel like there was something else dark in this area. And there's a lot of skeletons, skulls, crows, lots of that kind of stuff in this area. And it's just and bats. Oh, they had this bat candelabra. It was this big candelabra that had bats on it. What else do they have in this area? Lots of just dark in general decor. I'll show everything that I saw here, but it was beautiful. I love this whole collection. Whatever this collection is called. I didn't even see the little tag of it, but it's such a good collection. It's dark. And then they also had this Grim Garden line, which of course had a full-on spooky gnome. It wouldn't be at Gnome without the spooky gnome. And they also had a couple other pieces with some human faces, like vases. They had some gourds, some pumpkins with the human face, which we saw before, I think a couple of Halloween hunting videos ago. But also some mystical, magical looking grim garden or ghoulish garden looking pieces. And they had some Venus flytraps. So they had a huge one that was amazing, super detailed. And then they also had a smaller one, I believe, in this area. And just a bunch of little things you would see in a ghoulish garden, I guess. And they also had classic Halloween, which we always see a good old-fashioned Halloween line at home. But this one was not nearly as cutesy as years past. Maybe they're still putting stuff out, but I really actually like that about it. They did have some cutesy candy stuff, but I didn't see as much as the witches flying on lollipops or the, I don't know what else we saw. It was more classic black and orange, ghosties, black cats, those types of things. Signs that said Happy Halloween, boo, a couple skeletons in here. So classic, good old-fashioned Halloween, which I was loving because I feel like we haven't seen as much of that this year. There was also a little bit of a witchy line, not a whole lot, like a couple shelves, some crystal balls. There was a really cool mirror with a snake. It was silver, had a big old spider on the back. And they also had some other witchy items like pumpkins with snakes, black cats, spell books, like hands around a crystal ball kind of thing, witch hats, and then they had a whole spooky house collection too. Some of it was in the witchy area and some of it was standalone. And they had a bunch of spooky houses to choose from this year in different color schemes. They had black, they had brown, they had ghosties, they had jack-o'-lanterns, they had tall, skinny looking houses with witch hats on them. It was really cool. Oh, and then they had a full-blown pink line. We knew this was coming. This is my favorite pink line for Halloween ideas. because they had a lot of really cute ghosty items, but then they also had the disco balls. The disco balls, they're back again this year. They had ghosties, they had jack-o'-lanterns, they had all sorts of stuff like that, but mainly ghosties, black cat skulls, hearts, bows, all the cutesy pink stuff. They had a couple iridescent pieces in here as well, and velvety pieces. So pinks and purples. My favorite piece might be the Live, Laughed, Love pillow that was in the shape of a tombstone. I love that pillow. I think it's hilarious. But yeah, very, very cutesy, but really great for Halloween if you're looking for some Halloween stuff, or if you really like pink. Anyways, they also had a whole jack-o'-lantern area with a lot of different jack-o'-lanterns in all different sizes. They had metal jack-o'-lanterns, they had plastic jack-o'-lanterns, they had stacked jack-o'-lanterns, they had all sorts of jack-o'-lanterns. And then they had an aisle with some wall decor that had some really spooky looking, kind of gothic looking wall decor with skeletons and some really intricate looking frames. And they even had a big Medusa head in here that was super detailed. It's the first time I'm seeing this kind of piece at home. Then they had some other wall decor that said various Halloween-y things. Ghosty wall decor, like the ghosty paintings. And then what else do they have? Some witchy wall decor and some outdoor like yard stake kind of signs that said various things like Happy Halloween or Boo, or they had some candy corn ones. What else? Stacked pumpkins, those types of yard kind of decor. They also had some Halloween floral in here, and this witchy garland was so good with these little Venus flytraps in there. It was beautiful for a little witchy, I don't know, whatever witchy situation you got going on. Also some dark floral. What else do they have? They had some doormats. They had some classic Halloween doormats. So jack-o'-lanterns, skeletons, candy corns, all sorts of stuff like that. They also had Ouija board looking doormats. And of course they had to have a gnome doormat that said gnome haunted gnome. I think, yeah, gnome haunted gnome. And witchy doormats. They had all sorts. They even had a bat doormat, a whole bone zone. They had a couple different bone zones, a big bone zone with all the big skulls, and they even had a skeleton wheelbarrow. They had stacked skulls. They had a skeleton contemplating his life. They had skulls that go into fire pits. They had just random skeletons, all the things, but it was like the big bone zone. And then they also had a really pretty gothic mirror with skulls, and then also this big tombstone that was beautiful. It was huge. It was amazing. But yeah, this was like a larger skeleton skull cemetery kind of area, so reapers and tombstones and those types of things. They also had a classic bone zone, so all the classic kind of things we see every year. So they had spider skeletons, the most skeletons doing the most, octopus skeletons, frog skeletons, they had dragon skeletons, they had snake skeletons, they had, oh man, they had so many skeletons and skulls and all the things. They were everywhere. They had little baby bird skeletons, they had dog skeletons, they had armadillo skeletons, and just everywhere. Skeletons in baskets, skulls in baskets, bat skeletons, all the things. They also had some homeware stuff. They had some Pottery Barn and Anthropology looking dupes. I'm not gonna lie, they looked very similar, with all the different like candy corns and black cats. Some of them were kind of speckled looking, but they were really nice and sturdy, really pretty. They also had a couple of mugs. They were still putting them out, but they did have a couple mugs in here. And what else did they have in here? They had some pillows. They had a huge section of pillows that said all the different things. They had witchy pillows. They had skull pillows. With bedazzlements. They had all sorts of bedazzled pillows, actually. And vampy looking pillows. They had sugar skull pillows. Ghosty pillows. The ghosty pillow was really cute, actually. Spider pillows. And what else did they have? Oh, some classic Halloween pillows with, once again, skulls, things that said various Halloween sayings like spooky, boo, lots of jack-o'-lanterns, skulls, skeletons, cats, bats. They also had this really pretty bedazzled crow pillow that I loved. It was so pretty. They had some longer pillows with ghosts and snakes and spider webs and all the things on these longer pillows. So a whole bunch of different themes. And then anything else I'm missing, I'll show here. But they had a bunch of Halloween out. Pretty much all the themes, but it wasn't fully stocked yet. Like, all the shelves weren't completely filled, but we got to go back because we got to see more spooky goods. They're going to keep putting stuff out. So I can't wait to see all the things they add. Buckle up, Mr. Skeleton. It's time. Let's open our beverage. And if you've been seeing these boxes, I'm getting some questions about if HO7S is doing a Halloween shirt. We are doing a Halloween shirt, so stay tuned for that. Per usual, members will get first dibs. So if you're a Spooky Family member here on YouTube, you'll see the announcement first, and then followed by the announcement for everybody else. So, I usually do the announcement at the same time, but members get first access. And if you want to know more about the membership, I'll put it in the description. It'll say become a Spooky Family member here. It's kind of like Patreon, but here on YouTube. I won't go through the whole spiel in case you've already been around here and you've heard me talk about it. But there's more information there. You get spooky emojis to use in the comments, all sorts of little perks and things like that. But one of the perks is that you get first access to any shirt or spooky merch that comes out. Okay, let's get out of here, Mr. Skeleton, sir. Let's do it. All right, hey everyone, it is another day. Halloween decor hunting with me and good old Mr. Skeleton. Today, we've got places to go, Halloween to see. We're mainly hitting HomeGoods, TJ Maxx, Marshalls kind of situation today. So yesterday, when we were out at home, and we ran into Spooky Family, Letitia, Ghoul, you came through. Over on the Facebook group, Letitia posted that there was Halloween at this HomeGoods / TJ Maxx hybrid where the Elder Wasp is. If you know, you know. And not only is it there, but they have Joanna Parker, which I thought Joanna Parker wasn't happening anymore. Maybe she found another manufacturer or somebody to do her spooky goods. I don't know. Or maybe it's left over. I don't know what it is, but I'm so excited to see it. Hopefully it's still there. The resellers in my area are on another level, as we heard about the fight that broke out at Cracker Barrel. If you watched that video, then you know the story. Either way, I know there's Halloween here. So we're going to go check it out, see what they got. Then we're going to cruise over to the other HomeGoods with the Marshalls hybrid. That one last week, they were remodeling, or they just had all the shelves all empty and moved around. So I don't know if they're fully remodeling technically, or if they're just reorganizing, or just, I don't know what's going on. I don't know, but it's been a whole week. And so we're going to go check it out and see if they have anything. And then along the way, we may stop at a couple Michaels's to see if they have any new Spooky Town, like any of the displays. We still have yet to see a Spooky Town full display setup. Like, we've seen the display, but not the Spooky Town model situation. And we can check and see if they have any other minis out, any floral out, anything like that. Then I think that's it for today. But we're mainly hitting HomeGoods, TJ Maxx, Marshalls today. And we're going to see what they have. See if they have any spooky. I know this one's going to have the spooky goods because Letitia came through for your Ghoul. Thank you, Letitia, for posting that, because I am on my way, y'all. I'm on my way. And I wanted to go yesterday, but couldn't make it work. By the time I saw that post, it was already bedtime for the boys, and it's a whole routine, you know. So, anyways, speaking of stories, I have to say this because as I was pulling out of my neighborhood, the post office person was kind of pulling out of a little neighborhood or whatever. I waved and they waved, and I couldn't help but think of the time. If you know the story I'm about to tell, then you're OG. You've been here since the beginning, because I think this happened very early on in our Halloween hunting journey. I want to say this happened 2018-ish time. It was definitely pre-COVID. Anyways, I was in my driveway taking a cover photo for Halloween hunting, and I needed light. So I pulled out of my garage and was sitting in my driveway in my car with Mr. Skeleton, doing all of these ridiculous poses. I mean, really embarrassing, you guys. I mean, this is like, if you're having secondhand embarrassment, I am too, and it was me that was doing it. So anyways, I'm doing these facial expressions that are at like, or whatever kind of facial expressions. They were terrible. And I was already embarrassed doing it. And I was like, Jake, just get over it. Get over yourself. No one's watching. Everyone's at work. No one even cares if you're in your car. And no one's even going to see what you're doing unless they're really up close. Like, no one's going to know. And I hear a knock on my window of my car. So this isn't like the post office person was down by my mailbox and could kind of see from a distance and I'm just being paranoid. No. This was not paranoia. This was like, I'm sitting here with the camera on me, making faces and like looking in the direction of Mr. Skeleton with my mouth wide open, like hanging out in my car, making weird faces with a skeleton, essentially, is what my post office person is seeing. And they're knocking on my window to give me a package because they saw me sitting there. So they thought, oh, maybe, she's sitting right here. I'll just give it to her. Meanwhile, no, it was seriously the most embarrassing. I always think of that anytime I see my post office person and we wave like, oh, hi, hello. I'm like, and I'm still driving around with the skeleton. Anyways, and I didn't even know what to say. I don't even remember what I said. At that point, I don't even know if there's anything to say. There are no words that can be exchanged that can possibly explain what's going on without just making it worse. Like, I feel like it would just make it worse. It would just make it so much worse. So anyways, I think about that every so often. I'm sure the post office person doesn't think about it, or maybe they do, which would be my worst nightmare. So what else do we want to talk about while we're cruising to HomeGoods? I wish I could say Joann's so bad, but I can't. What are you guys looking for? What's your must-have item this year that you're searching for? Is it the Cracker Barrel Witch? Are you looking for vintage Halloween? Just dark decor in general? Are you looking for that ghost mirror everyone's looking for? Or are you, I don't know, what are you hunting for? What kind of themes are you doing? Does everybody do do you have themes? Or do you just kind of buy what you like and put it out? I do themes, but I haven't always done themes, I don't feel like. I feel like I used to just buy, in general, Halloween things, but I buy a bunch of random stuff and just decorate how I decorated. And now I've got more of a theme thing going on. But I don't know. What do you guys do? Themes? No themes? Or just a general, like your taste happens to be a certain kind of theme? Like maybe you just prefer in your face Halloween orange and black, so that's how you decorate. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Because I don't know what themes I'm putting out this year. I usually try to break them up. And I give some themes a little bit of a rest. And then some themes come out all year, or not all year round, but, well, some are all year round. But some are every year. Like my In Your Face Halloween kitchen is every year. So I'm going to be doing that again this year. But I'm really torn this year. Maybe you guys can help me. I'm torn when it comes to my dining room. I don't know if I want to do Spooky Town on my big dining room table and have that be its own extravaganza. Or if I want to do a dining room setting and then do a separate table with Spooky Town. But the only issue I'm running into with that is I have no idea where to put the Spooky Town table. And I'm slightly worried about putting the Spooky Town table in my living room because the kids play there. So I'm slightly worried about Lucian he's usually pretty good about stuff like that. But he's also a toddler. And I feel like that stuff just comes out of nowhere. Like 1 minute he won't be into cabinets at all. Like doesn't care about cabinets in the slightest. The next day he wakes up and decides cabinets are all the rage and he's going to slam every single one of them. Doesn't dig out the pots and pans out of them or anything, but he wants to slam every cabinet door or every drawer, but then wasn't into it for 2 years of his life. So I thought we missed that part and now we're in it. So I don't know. Or like now he's really into my bookshelf. And so I have this little bat there Voltaire might appreciate this. So Voltaire sells these little bat decor pieces. They're actually really cool if you haven't checked them out. I'll put Voltaire's website down in the description box so you can check them out. They're these really cute little bat. They stand on their own and they've got their wings are out. They're really realistic looking bats. And they almost look like taxidermied bats. They're really cool. Anyway, Lucian has decided that he really loves these bats. And so he goes over to the bookshelf and will go get the bat and carry it around, and then he puts it over by his dinosaurs. He likes to put the bat next to the pterodactyl. I don't know if he thinks it's like a black pterodactyl or what, because his pterodactyl is orange. And then the bat is, I don't know what he thinks it is. And then he also grabs Voltaire's Gothic Life book. So I don't know if Lucian is just now, he's being introduced to Voltaire and he's now like a big fan of Voltaire, which is a possibility. I wouldn't put it past him because he's a spooky dude, you know what I mean? And he likes spooky things. And I feel like he liked Voltaire, and he's met Voltaire, but he doesn't remember. He was really little. But yeah, so I don't know if he's just now getting into this Gothic lifestyle thing. Maybe he's the future of Gothic homemaking. I don't know. Maybe Voltaire needs to teach him his ways, because if you know anything about me, Lucian is not going to learn DIY from me because I'm horrible at it. But if anyone has good Gothic DIY stuff, it's Voltaire. I mean, his stuff is like good, like tasteful Gothic DIY. If I tried, it would look like I can barely glue popsicle sticks together, you guys. So wait, is this where I'm going? Yeah. Anyways, so maybe Voltaire can teach Lucian his ways. Anyways, it's funny though, because he likes all of Voltaire's stuff. All right, you got to start them young, everybody. All right, we're here at HomeGoods and TJ Maxx, and then there's also Michael's here I think we're going to run into, and we'll pass the elder wasp. So here we go. We're here. All right, spooky goods. Here we go. I cannot believe the selection in there. It was on another level. That selection, that went from absolutely nothing at all in those stores to just exploding with Halloween. I do not know what that just was, but there was so much to see. I don't even know how I'm going to remember it all. So there was a whole area when we walked in that had, am I going in reverse? Yes. It had a bunch of stuff, all sorts of Halloween-y kind of stuff. So I'm going to start with Summerween because it's currently Summerween. So I'm going to start with some of the stuff we saw. We saw some tabletop decor, a good variety of Summerween tabletop decor. They had some ghosties and flotation devices. I think one was in a flamingo, and I can't remember what the other one was doing. And then they had a Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster, I know technically, but I always call him Frankenstein. They had this beach house. It was like a ghost beach house, it looked like. That blue and white stripes on the house. And then they had a sand castle, like a spooky sand castle. And I don't recall seeing that anywhere. Like, maybe I just skipped over it, but I didn't see it. I've never seen pictures of this, but it was like a sand castle with this jack-o'-lantern umbrella, and it had ghosts coming out of it. I don't know. It was like a cool little ghost, or like a little Halloween, Summerween sand castle. And then, was there another Summerween? I think they had some of the skull, like the skull with the ice cream cone on top, and just a couple of Summerween pieces in here. Then they also had a bunch of stuff. Classic Halloween. They had some vintage looking Halloween styles. They had this ghosty with this clown outfit on. They had a jack-o'-lantern clown looking guy, and lots of other orange, black, and classic Halloween things. They said various things like spooky or boo or happy Halloween, and they were in the classic Halloween colors. So definitely some classic Halloween in here, which I'm happy to see. And they had these baskets, or like woven looking baskets that looked like jack-o'-lanterns. They also had a Frankenstein looking one, and was there also, or a couple Frankenstein looking ones. Had some bats. They had some metal bats that were all lined up. That was a tabletop decor piece. And they had some like a bowl with bats at the base, and then they had this huge cauldron. was a big metal cauldron that had bats on it that was really cool. I think it was like $100, but it was metal. And they had some metal spider bowls. They were gold with spiders on them. And then they had these glass, I don't know, there was like a glass, cylindrical glass situation with scorpions at the base that were really cool. I really like the scorpions. Like, I'm all about bringing scorpions into Halloween. I think it's a really good, especially for you Scorpios out there. Oh, I would love just like a full Scorpio decor if I was a Scorpio. And what else did they have in here? They had a whole ghosty section. You know, they did lots of different ghosties. Ghosties stacked up, ghosties lined up, ghosties that were friends and witches, ghosties that were just ghosts with bat cutouts, ghosts with, I don't know, they had so many ghosts, just all the ghost stuff. They had chic ghost looking things. They had, it was just a ghost extravaganza. Like, basically the whole aisle here, decor. Oh, they had some gingerbread looking decor, like some gingerbread looking houses that were orange and like classic Halloween colors. And then they had the cakes back, like the stacked cake with the frosting that looks like it's melting. And then they had, oh my gosh, one of my favorite pieces of the day today, and I was crushed that both of the pieces were damaged. Like, damaged enough to be able to tell. And I think they tried to salvage them, and it didn't look good. So there were these ghost candelabras, and they're like wraith ghosts. So kind of like the Cracker Barrel ghost, if you know, you know, with the wraithy look. But it was a candelabra kind of thing. It was so cool looking in person. It was so good. And they were damaged. Both of them were extremely damaged, and it looked like they had tried to glue the pieces back on and like paper mache over top or something, but it didn't match, and it just looked terrible. So unfortunately I had to leave them there, but they were beautiful. I loved those. They also had a couple headless horsemen with the orange jack-o'-lantern that lights up, and classic kind of Halloween stuff. They also had some pink stuff in here, like pastel-Halloween looking stuff in here. Per usual, we're seeing a lot of that this year. And yeah, this was all kind of mainly the tabletop decor section. Oh, they had some candles that stood out to me. That they were these candlesticks that looked like bats with their wings folded down. Oh, I loved them. Gothic, amazing, loved everything about them. And so they had that. Anything else? What else did they have? They had, I don't know, but anything else? Oh, they had some Sesame Street stuff that was so cute. They had a Cookie Monster dressed in a jack-o'-lantern outfit, and then an Oscar the Grouch popping out of a jack-o'-lantern. And now I want to do my boys' rooms, or their bathrooms, in Sesame Street Halloween. So hopefully they have some hand towels and or sheets or something that is Halloween Sesame Street. I know they've had some pillows and sheets at Sesame Street in the past, so I'm hoping they do the Halloween version. I'm hoping, so I can do like a whole decor thing. Anything else that I'm missing, I'll show here in this little area. But then we went to the kitchenware, diningware kind of area. They had a pastel pink little area, like a plastic cup that looked like fake bubbles. And then they had ghosty bowls that were stacked bowls, and yeah, just a couple little things in this area. Then they had some ceramic stuff. They had some ceramic, like Hello Kitty, blue sky pieces, like little houses, and then Hello Kitty. And did they have Lilo and Stitch in here? It was just a bunch of ceramic stuff. I know they had Nightmare Before Christmas in here. I was distracted because I saw Joanna Parker, and I have been, last year, did I see Joanna Parker? I think I did last year, but I thought that they were gonna stop producing Joanna Parker, and so I was devastated. But I saw some Joanna Parker salt and pepper shakers, which I did not see last year. They had the ghosts, they had the cats, they had the jack-o'-lanterns, they even had the Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein salt and pepper shakers. They had the whole crew. Then down the mug section, they had some spooky mugs. They had a bunch, once again, more Joanna Parker. I was so excited that it wasn't completely picked over, because they had a bunch of Joanna Parker mugs in here. They had the spider, they had Dracula, the devil one, What else did they have? They have the cats, the ghost. They had a bunch of Joanna Parker pieces in here. And they also had a bowl that was a black cat bowl that was so cute. I was so shocked to see all of that Joanna Parker this early in the game. I was so happy to see it out. And then they also had any of the other Joanna Parker stuff I'm missing, I'll show here. But they also had a teapot that was a ghost teapot. It was the only one left. And they also had a couple other things. They had a couple Ray Dunn pieces. One was this little cookware looking pink. It said Good Witch on it. Or what else do they have? Just some other Halloween mugs. They were just getting started. It looked like the whole shelf was basically empty. So they definitely had more to put out in this area. But anything else I'm missing, I'll show here because they had a really good selection. I didn't see any sheets. I didn't see the beach towels. I didn't see anything else like that. But I did see spooky goods and I was so happy to see it. We saw classic Halloween, we saw Pasteloween, we saw Summerween, we saw all year round dark decor, we saw the whole thing, and now we're getting a really good parking spot here at HomeGoods, Marshall's Hybrid, and I am so excited. We're parking next to an orange car, so I have a good feeling about this. Leaving HomeGoods, and I just remembered a bunch of stuff that I forgot that I'm gonna mention here. It's from the last HomeGoods though. They had the candelabra, the gold candelabra with the bat on it. It wasn't the 4-foot tall one. It was the smaller one, but it was equally as beautiful. And then they had some really good looking water globes this year. They had a bunch to choose from. They had a bunch with skulls in them, skeleton kind of vibes. They also had the classic witch kind of water globe look with the hands wrapping around the crystal ball looking thing. They had one that was really cool that had a pumpkin top and bottom, and then it had these little jack-o'-lantern head guys in there, and it kind of had this vintage, kind of eerie look to it. It was really cool looking. They had a bunch of water globes, so I'll show all that here. Then they also had these candlestick holders with skulls. They were actually glass. I feel like last year they were acrylic, but this year they're actual glass, and they're beautiful. They had pink, they had clear, and they had brown, I think. And then, what else did they have in this area? I don't know. All right, let's talk about what we saw at HomeGoods 2.0. What did we see? A lot of similar items, like a lot of similar ghosty items. The Summerween ghost that was in the flotation device, we saw that again. So a lot of similar items. But they had a lot of Hello Kitty at this HomeGoods. So just in general, Hello Kitty, like as a witch, some of the items we saw in the last, like at the last HomeGoods, but Hello Kitty as a witch, like Hello Kitty as Frankenstein, Hello Kitty doing the most spooky stuff. They even had little spooky castles or little spooky houses with Hello Kitty. And they also had a couple of really cute blue sky pieces. I'm not a blue sky collector. My grandma is. Her collection's beautiful. I wonder if she has any of these pieces because this witch house was gorgeous. It had this little witch that kind of floated outside of it. It was such a cute little piece. They had a couple of towels. One was a witch towel that had different colors, like purple, pink. It was mystical looking. And then another one was one that had a bunch of frames on it with different Halloween-y kind of things. And what else do we see in this area? And then they just had some various things. Oh, they had this mirror that had skulls at the bottom and some floral situations. They had some witchy decor. They had these witch candlestick holders. They were these brooms. They were like candlestick broom looking things. They were really cute. And some other witchy decor. They had another stacked cake. This one had a bunch of different colors. Witches, skeletons, skulls, ghosties, Summerween, Halloween, all the things. And then they had a bigger section that had a bunch of the big stuff. So they had this big skeleton guy with a tombstone. They had a big ghosty witch, I think, had a witch hat. Maybe not. I think it did though. And then this little ghosty trio. It wasn't a huge selection because they are renovating the store. So they've got a whole portion of the store all blocked off. So yeah, but that's what we saw so far. It was a good day Halloween decor hunting, Mr. Skeleton. We saw the spooky goods, everybody, at HomeGoods. Oh, I meant to mention, ran into Michael's really quick. Didn't see a spooky town setup. Didn't see much at all. Anything new. They had Halloween out, the usual stuff that we saw a couple videos ago. So they didn't have anything new out though. So anyways, that's what we saw. Mr. Skeleton fur. Get it together. Are you okay in there? You look like you're sagging a little bit more than usual. Hey everyone, it is another day Halloween decor hunting with me and good old Mr. Skeleton. It is gonna be another freaking hot day. I feel like I've been saying that every single time, but here we are. It is 88 degrees already and the day has barely started. So we're gonna be out here sweating, Mr. Skeleton. So I'm hoping this witchy garb brings us some good luck today because we've got places to go, Halloween to see. So we're going today. We're going to At Home. We're going to the fancy HomeGoods. We're going to go to the fancy Walmart because they usually get out, like their dollar section is usually really good. So I feel like if any Walmarts have Summerween, it's going to be this Walmart. May run to the other HomeGoods on the way home. Oh, I wanted to run to Michael's. That's where I wanted to go. So there's one Michael's that we didn't hit yet. And I don't know if they have their Spooky Town out. I'm still searching for the Spooky Town displays. No one in my area, like none of the stores, have the actual displays out. And I wanted to get a really good look at it. So I have another, this is where they get me. Michael, you're getting me this year. This year, Michael's has been giving out these 30% off coupons like they're candy. And your ghoul is eating them all up. Let me just put that out there. So they have a 30% off one full price item right now. Plus, I got another $15 voucher. I just had one, but then I bought Spooky Town, so I think I got another one. This reward system at Michael's is on another level. If you don't have the Michael's app and you shop at Michael's quite a bit, or you're just looking at, you're eyeballing some of their Halloween stuff, their vouchers, like you spend so much money and then you get these vouchers. And I didn't even know this was a thing, that they even did this until last year. I was on my app and I saw like I had $75 of vouchers. It's like, what's a voucher? Like what, like, you know, sometimes you have to spend a certain amount of money to use it or to get a certain amount off. No, this is straight up like you can use this on anything. You don't have to spend a minimum amount to use it. So it's like it's like cash back basically, but it's not a credit card. It's not a credit card. So anyways, it's like a whole rewards. This video is not sponsored by Michael's, by the way. This is not sponsored. I just am talking about this because I had no idea this was a thing. And then last year I got a ton of money off of Spooky Town, and those things are pricey, but you know your goal. I love a good steal of a deal. And so when you have like 30% off plus a voucher, like $15, or I had $75 last year, I think it was, or maybe it was more than that. I don't know. Anyways, and then I use them on Spooky Town, and then I get these Spooky Town buildings for a fraction of the price. It's my ultimate tip and trick of Spooky Town. But anyways, speaking of Spooky Town, we're on our way to At Home right now. And they already have Halloween out, like a lot of it that we've seen. Really, I'm waiting impatiently for them to put out their Spooky Town. I guess they're getting these Max Spooky Town sets this year. I've yet to see them in store, and I've been checking weekly, so I don't think they've gotten them. But it keeps saying on the website that it's a sneak peek, that they're not out yet. But I keep seeing other items on the website that I know are on the shelves. Like they have these big black cat statues, and it's showing online that it's a sneak peek. Like you can't do store pickup. So usually I look at store pickup to see if anything's in stock. The trickery of it all is I've noticed that the Halloween stuff that's out already, it's not showing for store pickup. Some of the stuff is, most of it isn't. So I don't know why they wouldn't do that. If you don't want to put it out yet, but it's in back, I feel like it would just save you time from having to put it out if you put it for store pickup. But I don't know, maybe they just haven't unboxed it yet, or they don't know where it's at. She said they had 85 pallets of Halloween. But here's another little trick. I learned why my store is taking forever to get Halloween out. And I figured I'd mention it just in case your at-home stores have, like, they're taking forever to put Halloween out. Maybe the same reason. And it makes no logical sense whatsoever to me, but I'll let you be the judge. So I was talking to a worker at this store, and they said that they weren't putting out Halloween yet. This was right before they started putting it out. And that their manager was mad at them because they wanted Halloween out and they had all these empty shelves. Remember when I came to this At Home and it said coming out July 1st or whatever? And I was like, I can't imagine they can just have empty shelves like that for a couple weeks and that their manager would be cool with that. Turns out their manager's not cool with it. But the person who's working there said, well, we have to sell through this patio stuff. And as soon as I put Halloween out, we stop selling patio. This makes no sense whatsoever to me, because to me, I would think, and maybe I just haven't been in retail long, like I've been out of retail for a long time. I used to work retail when I was younger. It was always about getting new faces in the door, like getting people in who haven't already seen your stock of goods. Halloween, I feel like, is the perfect way to do this. You can get people in the door who maybe don't normally come to At Home, and maybe while they're shopping for Halloween, they're like, oh, we need some outdoor furniture or whatever. And then they go over to the patio section. I just feel like that would be more likely than people who already go to At Home not buying. And maybe that makes no sense, but to me, I was just like, that would make the most sense. But anyways, regardless, she had told me that they had 85 pallets to get out. So they're going to do it in phases, but they had to start putting it out earlier than they had marked on the piece of paper because their manager was getting so mad at them not having, like, they just had a bunch of empty shelves. And honestly, I get it. My manager, when I worked retail, would have been really mad too. So, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But maybe it's just not making sense to me because I want to see Halloween. And that's the truth of the matter. We got to be real, Mr. Skeleton. All right, we're here at Home. We're going in. All right, here we come at Home. And we just left At Home. Saw a couple of new things. Not a whole lot of stuff. We saw a couple of wreaths that I hadn't seen before. One of them was really cute. It was like this dark, branchy situation with this skeleton guy that had, was it a tombstone? I think it was. It said RIP on it. He was kind of cute. And then a little classic ornamental looking, what do you call it? Wreath. And then what else do we see? Is there anything else? Oh, we saw some bathroom mats. One of them said boo and was more of like an in-your-face Halloween vibe. And then the other one was more of a splatter, like a blood splatter look. And then they had the matching shower curtain. It was white with blood splatter. And that's what we saw. I think that was it. Anything else, though, I'll show here. But I didn't see a lot of new stuff. Oh, wait. No, they did have this jack-o'-lantern hanging decor. I don't know if it was for your front door or just wherever you want to hang it. But it kind of had an old school Halloween look to it. I kind of liked it. But yeah, that's pretty much what we saw today. That's it. That was new. No Spooky Town. And the reason I'm getting all obsessed with the Spooky Town is I want to get my stuff bought up and done for the season so I can start getting it set up or getting it. Because I want to go all out. I want to go all out, y'all. I want to go get some, you know, moss stuff. And like, I want to set the whole thing, do little pathways. Like, I want to do the whole shebang. And then also with the Spooky Town they're selling at Home, their entire sets. So they have the house, they have the little lamps, they have the little people, they have the, like, some little trees. It comes with a whole set. And I love that. So, yeah, I'm wanting to get at least one of them. I don't know which ones though. These decisions are going to kill me this year. But anyways, a lot of my budget this year is going to Spooky Town, which is okay because I feel like I am adding to my other themes, but I feel like my other themes are pretty developed. I don't know what we're doing on the mantle this year. It might be another cemetery year, or we were going to do like a Haunted Mansion style last year. And I'm kind of thinking about revisiting that idea where we were going to do like this really kind of like Haunted Manor look, not actual Haunted Mansion themed, like a Haunted Manor, candelabras, candles, kind of like that kind of feel. And we never ended up doing it last year. I don't even think I decorated my mantle last year. I mean, it was decorated dark, but we had a whole playpen set up there, and it was just, and we were doing, it was a disaster last year. And I was very, very pregnant. Are you going to go? Are you sleeping? Did you miss the whole light? Y'all. This car in front of me just missed the whole light. Okay, we're gonna go now. I'm sorry. I normally do not honk. I normally do not do it. But they had already missed an entire light. Like, the whole light had gone through already. And the person in front of them went and they didn't go. And then they were about to do it again until I honked, and then they went. I normally do not honk. Hopefully they're not mad at me. I really didn't mean it in a road rage way, even though I kind of did. But it wasn't like that. Anyways, we're heading out we're going to a different HomeGoods. This was not on the plan for today, but we're driving right by, so why not stop by to good old-fashioned HomeGoods. We were just here the other day, but are we going again? Absolutely. We're sweating, everybody. We are sweating for the sake of Halloween. All right, Mr. Skeleton, we saw the spooky goods. This is the one that they're remodeling. So it's kind of a mess in there, but they are starting to get out Halloween. They're getting more stuff. Like they had 2 big carts set out that they were putting out. And so they are getting started here. But the aisles were still a little bare. But they did have some new things, especially some big things. They had this big area, this big old spooky display that had a big skeleton guy and this pumpkin, and these pumpkins are so cute. They look like the Pottery Barn pumpkins. They're like a black terracotta looking situation. I don't think they're as heavy duty as the Pottery Barn ones. If they're like the Pottery Barn ones that I felt last year in the flesh, like at the store, those are really heavy. These ones weren't quite as heavy, and they wanted $30 for them. But it was a really cute black pumpkin. They had a big display that had this, I think it had a bunch of pink pillows, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Like pink ghosts and maybe some skulls. But then they also had the bench. The bench that I saw last year that I ended up getting that I love. And it's back this year. It's Martha Stewart Goth. It's this bench with the spider web back. It is glorious, and it's back. And then also this huge eyeball. Just like a big old eyeball. Right there. And then what else we see? There was a Mickey, a skeleton Mickey. There was, they had those Martha Stewart Goth candelabras back again. I thought they were Martha Stewart Goth. Maybe they were different this year. And a lot of other things that we've seen. Oh wait, I know what we didn't see yet that was really cute. They had these little cakes. I'm normally not the biggest fan of the cakes. I don't dislike the cakes. I just don't know if I have use for them. But they had some really cute ones that were little mini ones. One had a spider. One was a candy corn vibe. And what was the other one? Was it eyeballs? I think. Like a bloody eyeball situation. Anyways, they were really cute. And anything else I'm missing in this area, I'll show. But they had a lot of the usual suspects: skulls, witches, ghosts, pumpkins, all the things. Then I went over to the ceramic section. They had a really good selection of ceramics that I haven't seen yet. They had a little doghouse cookie jar that had 0 in it, Nightmare Before Christmas. And then they had the little deadly nightshades little cookie jar thing. They had some mugs, some vintage looking spooky mugs. One had a black cat. Then they had some ghosty mugs with different ghosts all over them. They had orange, they had black. One of them had like a spider web design on the inside. What else did they have? They had some Joanna Parker. They had some little salt and pepper shakers. And I did see a mug at the checkout area, but I didn't get a visual. And then there was a Mickey, I think it was like a Mickey zombie or Mickey Frankenstein looking cookie jar. And a Winnie the Pooh. Was it Halloween Winnie the Pooh or just regular Winnie the Pooh? I don't know. And then what else did they have? They didn't have a lot of other stuff out yet. I checked the sheet area. They didn't have any sheets yet. And they're still getting a lot of that kind of stuff out because the whole place, I don't even know where to look because this place is totally moved around. They're remodeling, so it is a disaster in there. But I still wanted to go check, and they are actually getting Halloween out. So now we're going to Michael's. We're cruising to go see if they've got Spooky Town out, to see if they're getting any of their minis out, any of their, what else are we looking for? Floral kind of stuff out, pottery kind of things. Because the other store last we checked was starting to get stuff out, so we're gonna check this store. And then what else do we want to look at? Oh, Spooky Town, did I already say that? Spooky Town, it's all about Spooky Town. And then we're gonna cruise over to HomeGoods. So I'll see you at Michael's because I do not want my camera to overheat. It is so freaking hot today. We're hanging on by a thread over here. Oh my gosh, Mr. Skeleton. You will not believe the steal of a deal I got in there. Like, that is the steal of a deal that I've ever stolen of a deal. I didn't steal anything, but I'm just talking about, like, I might as well. That's how good of a deal it was. I normally don't ask employees for help because I get shy for whatever reason. I'm not even shy. I just get like, I don't know why I get like this. Anyways, I did ask for help because I wanted to know, I had a 30% off coupon, and I was like, hey, I have 30% off. If I ring up a bunch of stuff, is it gonna ring up like the highest item? Is that what it's gonna mark down? And she's like, yeah, it will. And hey, did you see the 60% off coupon? And I'm like, excuse me, what did you just say? 60% off one regular priced item? I was like, does it work on Spooky Town? She's like, yeah, I think so. I got 60% off. I was eyeballing that Ferris wheel and I just never took the plunge on it because I don't know, there were some other things that I was looking at. So 60% off. That's basically clearance prices. That is blowing my mind. Plus, I could still use my 30% off. So but like off a different item, a different regular price item. So I got another Spooky Town item for 30% off. And then I had a $15 voucher on top of all of that. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. That was a steal of a deal. Anyways, that just made my whole day. So, what was I going to say? Okay, we did see Spooky Town in the flesh finally. They had the full-blown spooky display in all of its glory. They had the Ferris wheel. The Ferris wheel wasn't turned on though. But they had the Ferris wheel. They had the witches flying on brooms. They had the castle. They had the lagoon. They had the tree house. They had, what else did they have? Oh, the casket monger, which I also like. They had all the spooky things, all the little spooky houses, the spellbound books. They didn't have the witch house and they didn't have the video store. Those were the two things I was wanting to see that I didn't see. I know I've been blowing my budget on this Spooky Town, but at least it's for a steal. Like, I don't think I could find these any cheaper. I really don't. So anyways, that's what we saw. We saw Spooky Town. Oh, then they had a whole aisle of, they had a couple of minis. They had a little mummy dog. They had some crows. What else did they have? Do they have something else in here? Oh, a little stack of pumpkins. And that's what they had. But then they also had these amazing, what are they? Vases or vases, however you pronounce it. I'll let you do you. They had one that was this veiled lady. Oh, I love a good veiled lady. And she was glorious. She was beautiful. So there was a veiled lady. There was one with skulls all over it. Was there a Reaper guy of some sort? Yeah, like a Reaper skeleton guy. And what was the other one? I don't remember. Was it a pumpkin? I don't remember what it was. No, there was a heart, an anatomically correct heart. And something else, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, a vulture. They had a crow. It was a crow. Or was it a vulture? It was a vulture. I'm sorry. It was a vulture indeed. So, and those were $30, which is, I mean, I know that a lot of these places mark to put on sale, like they mark their stuff to put on sale. So it is a little pricey, but then once you get 30% off or 40% off and they start marking it down or you use a coupon, then you start getting into more realistic prices, in my opinion. So keep an eye on your coupons at Michael's, get the app. That's my tip on that. Then they had some hanging planters that were beautiful. One of them was a crow and one of them was a bat. And the bat was so good. I was sitting there for probably 10 minutes staring at it like, where am I going to put this? I know I love it. Where am I going to put it? I didn't end up getting it. I know I'm going to kick myself later. This is exactly what I look for all year round dark decor. I have literally nowhere to put it. I feel like I'd have to put a random hook on a wall somewhere and hang it. And even then, or put it outside. I don't even know where I would put it. I don't have like a overhang where it could go. It's just, I have nowhere to put this thing. And then to put it on a wall, I'd have to put a hook that like sticks pretty far out, or like, you know, like a hanging basket thing in my house. And then, I don't know. I feel like that's a disaster because I'll probably run into it, or somebody will run into it. A little kid will run it. Something's going to happen. So I don't know. I left it behind, but they're so good. I wish the bat was just a regular vase because it's so good. Anyways, they also had some of the pumpkin things that have the little cutouts where you could do like a little scenery thing. They had, what else they have? Oh, they had glass coffins, and they had like a little, where you could put little things in there. And then they had a glass what was it? Oh, it was like a little greenhouse, terrarium looking thing. And then they also had some test tubes and beakers, those kind of things, which they have usually every year. They also had a really beautiful cloche. And was the glass smoky? I can't remember, but it was really pretty. And then they had, what else do they have in this area? Oh, they had like the little bones, little skulls, little tombstones, ghosties, flies, like little containers filled with little spooky things that you can put in your little terrariums, or you can put them in a spooky town or whatever you want to do with them and build your little mini things. And that's what, I think that's it. Oh, I think I saw some floral, some black floral. And then anything else I'm missing, I'll show here. But they were just getting started in this area and it was looking so good. I think that bat hanging piece might be my favorite thing I've seen this year. And the veiled vase was also really pretty. But I just don't know if I have anywhere to put these things. I think I have somewhere to put the veiled lady vase, but I don't know. I just don't know what I'm doing, you guys. I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. Okay, nice blinker. All right. Anyways, here we are at the fancy HomeGoods, everybody. All right, we're here at the fancy HomeGoods. You should know better than to park by this grass-infested area. It's like overgrown grass. I park here every time. I don't know why. It's always infested by wasps. And somehow, knowing my irrational fear of wasps, and still somehow I park by the wasps. But, you know, what can you do? Anyways, we saw the spooky goods at this HomeGoods. It is out and about. It is in full force at this HomeGoods. First and foremost, we saw this throne. It was a full-blown spooky throne. It is like a gothic, big ol' gothic black throne chair thing. And it's for indoor and outdoor use. It is hard as a rock, but it is really cool. But it is also $700, which is, I don't even know. And it's not even, I don't even know if you can sit on the thing. We saw a lot of stuff at this HomeGoods that we've been seeing at TJ Maxx and HomeGoods in general. They had ghosties and witches and Reaper looking guys and all the things. Anyways, they had a whole little area that had a bunch of wooden stuff. Like a wooden sign that said Happy Halloween. I think another one just said Halloween. They had some ghosts. They had like this cute little ghosty floral arrangement thing. It had a little ghosty holding a bowl with a floral arrangement. And they had this little, it was like a dessert. It looked like a fake dessert, but it wasn't a cake. It was more of a cone shape, and it had all these little spooky looking sweets on it. It was more pastel looking. Then they had a gingerbread house looking thing, but spooky gingerbread house. And they had this really pretty cloche. It was a cloche with a skull and a raven on the inside. Oh, and then they had this really cool jack-o'-lantern pedestal seat looking thing. I've seen these on the Facebook group, but they're so good in person. I have no words. My words aren't even coming out. I don't know. It could be a table. It could be a seat. It could be all of the above. It is so good. It's so good. Anyways, they also had this jack-o'-lantern Mickey and a jack-o'-lantern. What was the other jack-o'-lantern? Oh, it was one of the ones with the human-looking faces on it. Anything else that I'm missing, I'll show here, but they had a lot of stuff. But a lot of the stuff, there was a lot of crossover with the items that we saw earlier today and last week. So, but a lot of Halloween. Halloween is out at HomeGoods. They also had a little skull. It was like a cauldron with skulls and disco balls. The disco balls are back, everybody. And what else did I see in here? They had a lot of blue sky pieces, which is the ceramic looking kind of little town kind of things. They had one that was really cool. It was kind of like a scarecrow. I don't know what it was, but it had jack-o'-lantern head and kind of a robe on. And then they had a bunch of the different houses. I think they had a cat looking thing. They had one that had a bat. I don't know if it was blue sky, but it looked like blue sky. And it had a bat sitting on top of, was it a pumpkin, a jack-o'-lantern, something like that? But they had some really good pieces in here. And what else did I see? And then they also had some mugs, a couple of mugs in here. There was a Jack and Sally mug. And didn't see any Joanna Parker, but we did see a lot of blue sky, Disney, that kind of stuff. Oh, Mr. Skeleton, it's so freaking hot. Lord, 99 degrees. It's hotter than that. But Guess what, you guys? We saw Summerween at Walmart. Let's talk about what we saw in Walmart. Oh my God. Hate this weather. Come on, guy. Pump up the jam. Let's pump it up. Blast. Baja blast me. All right, let's talk about what we saw at Walmart for Summerween. They had the spooky goods. Not all of it was out, but they had a good selection. I didn't see any of the inflatable coolers, which is what I'm looking for, but they did have some ghosty, like a ghosty pail. And what was the other pail? Was it watermelon jack-o'-lantern maybe? Is that what it was? I think. They had the watermelon pumpkins. They had some rubber duck, like some velvet looking ducks. They weren't rubber duckies, but they looked like rubber duckies, but they were velvety looking. And then they had pineapples. These plastic jack-o'-lantern looking pineapples. And then they also had some stacked, I didn't see the stacked watermelons, but they were stacked jack-o'-lanterns in summery colors. So they had pink, turquoise, and I can't remember what the other one was, but they were bright colored stacked pumpkins. They also had some signs. One said something ghoul summer, hot ghoul summer, cool ghoul summer, something like that. Had a skeleton on it. And then the other one was more of a graphic that had a ghost and a flotation device that said something about summer. Just waiting for Halloween, I think is what it said. Then they had these little stuffed ghosties that had different Summerweeny themes, like sunglasses and stuff like that. And then they had these bowls, they're like candy bowls with little characters at the base. And one was one a mummy? I know one was like a little ghoul that had a little candy corn bikini on that was kind of cute. Then what else did they have? They had some balloons. One was a watermelon jack-o'-lantern. One had checkers, I think. One was a ghost, and another one said boo, but they were cute little balloons. And then they had some little notepads. One had did one have a ghosty and one of them said like my summer to-boo list or something like that. And there was another one that I think had a jack-o'-lantern on it. They had a little skeleton guy and a flotation device, kind of like what we've been seeing at HomeGoods. What else do we see? These big ducks, stuffed ducks that were in flotation devices, but they were kind of like spooky looking. Like one I think was a Frankenstein. I think they had some skeletons in hot pink and orange. They had little mini skeletons. They had little bubbles, like little bouncy balls, like just little things for $1, which I thought, for $1, okay. $10, I can't get over it for that pineapple, man. You can get a real pineapple and carve it for less than that. I'm just kidding. Not really. Anyway, so what else did we see? I don't know. Whatever else I'm missing, I'll show here. But they did have some Summerween out, and it was cute, and it was very summery. Oh, I think they had some little signs, little like decor signs. And I'm glad we saw it because I've been looking for it. But I'm looking for the coolers, the inflatable coolers, and the beach balls. So we're gonna have to go back. Anyways, then they also had some spooky pajamas in the little kids section and the toddler section. They had these Ghostbuster ones that were so freaking cute. I may or may not have gotten matching ones for Lucian and Lachlan. And then Nightmare Before Christmas. They had Monsters Inc. What was the other one? Care Bears, Scooby-Doo, and what else? Oh, I saw Sonic the Hedgehog, and what were the other ones? Spider-Man, and I think that might be it. Anything else I'm missing, I'll show here. Anyways, that's what we saw at Walmart, and we saw some Summerween, and we saw some pajamas. And I looked in the adult section. Oh my gosh, my back is so freaking soggy, y'all. Looked in the adult section, didn't see any pajamas yet. We'll be out on the hunt. So we've got more hunting to do, but that's it for this video. So thank you so much for hanging out here with me and good old Mr. Skeleton. We saw some serious spooky goods today. Anyways, hope you're having an amazing Summerween. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up. Say hey, ghoul, hey, down in the comments because I love talking to you. And let me know anything else you're seeing out there, any of the spooky goods you're loving. Let me know, did you like the Summerween line at Walmart? Are you impressed? Not impressed? What do you think of the prices? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, anything else you're seeing at HomeGoods or elsewhere, let me know where you're seeing the spooky goods. And yeah, anyways, we'll be back out on the hunt in the next Halloween hunting video. We've got a lot of places we're keeping an eye on, so that will be in the next video. But I'm glad we saw Summerween at Walmart. That's what we've been looking for. But we'll still be looking for, we got to find that cooler. The inflatable coolers, looking for them. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.